Jake? Jake, can you hear me? Hang in there. I'm gonna take care of you, buddy. You're gonna be alright.
Welcome to Underhell, a Half-Life 2 modification that grew into a thing of its own and became only dependent on the source SDK. This model is in development since 2005 and has grown quite a bit from its early days with the help from a bunch of people, including people such as Jeremy Ors MXTHE, Carlos Charlie Sotelo, and Tom Stoffel, who was the guy for the soundtrack, which you're hearing right now. You play this game as one Jack Hawkfield, a guy who recently married and moved in with his wife, only to have her die without any real reason. Of course, we don't stop there. Anyway, a major update was released back at the start of this September 2013, providing a new chapter which I've yet to play. What I'm doing right now is playing the Prologue, which involves, well, we'll be getting to that shortly. Well, I can't be sure how they kept calm up to that point. Sure as hell doesn't sound very pleasant. But the phone rings, so yeah. Anyway, we can move around a bit, open some closets, that kind of stuff. But, yeah. And we get an overview of everything, but we skip it. The house is just a home base, we can do stuff in it, such as checking mail, email, and a whole bunch of other stuff which I've yet to cover. Rattle some locked doors, and our clock begins to ring. And we grab the flashlight, good enough for some murky music. We also grab a page from our dead wife. Not that it's important. I'll go over that later. And we have flickering lights and weird sounds. Okay, saved. We'll move back a bit and just... yeah. Everything's fine. Not sure why that sound has to play every time I pick up something. It's like I'm playing Slender or something. And we look at the calendar. And grab some stuff. Not that we actually use it, though. Break a couple of jars, because I think we need to clean up this house. Nope, nothing down there. Just open our front door, get an objective to find our truck keys. Well, would you look at that? It's right there. We're not done yet since we have to go through the tutorial first. I haven't found a way to skip it, but hey, I'll show it to you. As we head over and take a look inside. Time to go reminiscing.
Alright, Jake, can you hear me? Look up to the control room if you hear me.
Anyway, this is a weird way to do a tutorial. It's a bit Portal-esque, although it does its job at explaining game mechanics. You probably forget some of them, like taking command of your squad and stuff.
Urging to get to the action, aren't you? Sorry to disappoint, but I'd rather you start with the basics.
Anyway, we just go through the typical stuff. So, yeah.
Let's start with the basics. Get through
Just
this room as fast
going
as you
through,
can.
it's pretty easy. Of course, going fast here doesn't really matter that much, actually.
If you jump and then crouch in midair, you'll be
We
able
can
to
kick
climb
stuff
some high spots. You just
and smash things,
You can even climb
which is
very tight
pretty...
areas like fences
it's
doing
pretty
so.
strong. Anyway, we're
As
blocked
you
by
can
the
see,
darkness,
doing a lot of
and
physical
the
action
drawers over
inside
here,
quite
they
a
can't be
bit.
opened.
You want to make sure you don't run
So,
out of stamina,
yeah.
or else you won't be able to
Otherwise
jump,
I'd be progressing right about now.
or stay underwater for too long.
Anyway, they
Remember,
explain some of the HUD
it's all about
stuff.
your breathing.
The
So don't
battery
forget to
icon
breathe.
represents how much power we have for our accessories, like flashlight and night
Bunch of
vision.
crates in the way.
The vertical
Could
bar
try
on the
to
left
move
is
some
our
of them.
vitality meter, which is
Big one
basically
looks
indicating how
heavy.
much we've eaten or
Might as
drank,
well just kick
and
them.
the horizontal bar
Kicking
represents our
is
stamina,
always a
which
viable
allows us to
solution in
jump
close
and
quarters.
kick stuff and run
Keep
around
that
in general.
mind on the field. It might save your life.
Frank, over the intercom, explains this stuff, so you won't miss it if you play it.
Time to use your shoulder flashlight. As you can see, you don't have any spare batteries in your flashlight.
Please, just let me
Only the one
progress.
it's currently using. Once these run out, your flashlight
I'm just gonna
won't
kick around
work
in the
properly.
darkness for a little while.
Look around the drawers for some batteries.
And now the drawers unlock. You can't open them beforehand, which is a bit silly.
Isn't that better? A working flashlight.
And we have night vision. It doesn't
Keep in mind that a
have a
flashlight
delay,
is very
so
noticeable, especially in the dark.
you can just switch it on
That's
and
why
off
you have
pretty
your night
quickly.
vision to remain undetected. But keep in mind, it uses twice as much battery as your flashlight. Okay, see that lever near the door? Flip it.
Okay. Just go through and take a look at this next part, which has a
See
keypad.
that door with a keypad on it? It has a randomized
I messed
code
it up a
system.
couple of times.
The code changes every
I'll just say
10
that right now.
seconds. You will find the code somewhere on a tablet in the drawers. The code
Because
on the
the
tablet
code
updates
just changes the
accordingly.
very moment I enter it
When you
in,
find it, you'll have to type it
and
in
it does
before it
weird
changes.
things. So I just wait for it to change again. 1713. You don't get a reticle by default unless you're mashing E on nothing in the
Remember
air.
to be accurate when you use keypads.
So it's
Some of them might have a
a little
limited
bit
number of
tedious
tries,
to try and
but an
aim
alarm might go off
yourself
if you
at
mess
the
up 3 times
keypad.
in a row. Alright, let's talk about your inventory now.
Anyway,
As you
here's
can
some
see,
inventory
there are some
stuff.
objects on the tables.
And
You might want to get familiar
yeah.
with them. You can't carry everything you find out there. You have to think about what you will need the most.
Frank is right, but you
That's
can
your
carry a whole
decision.
bunch of stuff.
The medkit is your best friend. It will stop any bleeding you might have and allow you to get right back into
And
the
you just
action.
get to your inventory with I.
The health spray will clean the wound and make you feel a bit better. The bandages will help to stop the bleeding if you get injured. Glow sticks and flares can help you out if you don't have batteries. But keep in mind, flares are loud and won't help you remain undetected.
I turn on my glow stick, and for some reason I can't put it out, which is a little bit troublesome. But I wander around with it on.
Body armor and helmets will reduce the amount of damage you take, protecting you from potential bleeding effects.
The armor doesn't last that long, unfortunately.
We rarely are in combat situations that last more than a day, but you always want to make sure you have a few protein-heavy rations and sugar-heavy drinks with you. You need to be at your maximum
Of course, kicking
potential.
can break down doors, but only if the game lets you. Because I might as well have a drink.
Making sure you give it your best. Keep it in mind.
Now we can kick it down. Over here, we have a couple of guys talking some random stuff, and it all seems a little bit silly and illogical.
But I look through the window next to it, and I see a barrel. So it's just a barrel, fucking boom, flows the door right off its hinges, and I'm able to walk through what's left of the doorway like a boss.
So why didn't you just break the window and climb through there?
It was bulletproof glass.
If it was bulletproof glass, how were you able to shoot the barrel through it?
Ah, soldiers these days. Anyway, moving on.
Alright.
Welcome to weapons training. And the mechanics are a little different than most games.
Let's start with the sidearms.
It doesn't automatically reload your gun when you shoot all of whatever happens to be loaded up, so you gotta keep your eye on the meter and tap the key to reload when you need to.
As you can see, firing from the hip is not an easy business, especially with a sidearm. You might want to aim down your sights for better precision. Alright, nice shooting. Let's get to the submachine guns now. Pick up that Mp5. Randomly in the shed. I want you to hit them as they pop up.
Anyway, this is simple target practice with the Mp5 Submachine Gun. It's pretty easy and simple stuff. You shouldn't have too much trouble hitting any of the targets. Just need to keep an eye out, and that's all you need to do. There's a more difficult one coming up, but that's later. Just shoot them all down. Of course that one, you know, I hit it too early.
Good job. Now pick up another weapon from the table. Your choice this time.
I fired this a few times, but it doesn't really have much difference.
You can only carry one weapon of each type on the field. You need to
I'm
be
not sure
light on
about
your
the
feet,
differences between
carrying an arsenal
those two
isn't ideal.
handguns, really.
I'm gonna be popping up 2 targets now. Get
They
ready.
sound different, but that's pretty much it. Anyway, now we have more targets to shoot at. And we can hold this handgun with only one hand. Jack must really have strong muscles or something to hold it without any significant recoil. Anyway, they're popping up faster this time because there's 2 of them at once, rather than just one on its own. But that's not the difficult I'm talking about. That's coming up in a moment.
Alright, nice shooting. You got this. Now let's move on to the next area for our tactical simulation. Grab some ammo from the crates behind you before you move on.
Anyway, I'm just demonstrating the different firing types between burst and automatic. You can switch modes with the X key, and you'll hear a click indicating you've changed the modes. Annoyingly, it doesn't actually tell you what mode you're in right at the very moment.
Hey, what's up, Jake?
Anyway, this is
Hey, Mike.
squad training.
Recognize me under all this gear? It's your standard loadout, vest, mask, that whole deal.
Thing about it
Nothing
is,
you're
I
not
didn't
familiar
bother
with.
much with
But take a good
using
look. You do well to
the
get used
C
what a
key to
friendly
order the
target
squad
looks like.
around.
In the field.
Though
you have a
this is
split
what
second
the
to
game makes you
identify and
do.
Neutralize a suspect, and you better be sure it's a bad guy.
So Mike volunteered for that part. Whenever you want to give orders,
I don't show it
you
in
have
this
to be
video,
accurate
but you
and
can
efficient.
shoot at Mike all
That's
you
the way to
want,
go
you
nearby
can't
the
kill
door.
him. So there's no
Good.
actual
If you send your
repercussions.
squad mates somewhere and go away, they will eventually try to come back and find you. It's not really smart to leave your mates behind.
Anyway, double tap C to
Order him
regroup,
to regroup.
and he just wanders off by the door
Alright.
anyway.
Sometimes, in specific circumstances, you'll have to give your signal to your team. Whenever you do so, they will breach and clear the area. Once the assault has been given, they might not stop to wait for you, and will do their job with or without you. So once you give the signal, be sure to stick with your team.
Alright, you ready for this? Once you give the signal, we're gonna make entry and clear the ghost town of all the targets. We'll do a head count at the end. You ready? Let's do this!
Anyway, this is a sort of minigame. Basically, go competitive with our friend Mike to get as many targets as possible. It's a bit hit and miss though. Targets can show up out of sight for the most part, and he'll probably grab the few that you don't even realize have shown up, and that one just shows and flips up without. And yeah, Mike tells us there's a target behind the car, but yeah, it shows up way too late, and he doesn't even have a line of sight to it. Anyway, breaking down the door, and more target shooting. Unfair, of course. Once again, I shot too early.
Target on the rooftop!
Of course, he gets it first. I take a pot shot at Frank. Nothing happens. He doesn't twitch.
Target in the shed!
The shed? Which shed? is a question I so want to ask right about now.
Alright.
Of course I had the lead, but I lose it pretty much at the end. Barely. Now I know there's a dialogue for winning, but I'm not so sure about if there's a dialogue for getting a tie. Haven't been able to pull that off just yet.
Don't worry, man. I had the advantage, you know. I already kinda know where all the targets are. I've been through the course a dozen times. You'll do better next time, don't worry. Alright, let's wrap this up. Stack up.
Anyway, we have a hostage,
Hey,
but I
untie me,
decide to,
quick!
you know,
Release
just
me!
wander around. He's a bit of an annoying one, that voice.
Hey, untie me! Release me!
Anyway, just wander around. He's just standing
What are
there.
you waiting for? Untie me!
I just stand around as well.
Looks like he's not gonna fall for it, Frank.
And the last and most important of all rules. Everyone is a potential hostile. Do not take hostages for granted. You never know who is a perp. Appearances can be deceiving. Only use lethal force when necessary, but never let your guard down. Welcome to Special Weapons and Tactics, Jake.
Cue base shot. Oh, that helicopter's not taking off anytime soon.
Hey, can somebody untie me now?
Anyway, let's head back. I tried to get a tie, but instead, of course, I happened to win this time round. Mike shot a whole bunch after calling the match, but that didn't stop him.
Well, I'll be damned. You beat me on your training day. Yeah, good job, man. I feel safe with you watching my back. Alright, let's wrap this up. Stack up.
Trying to get the door open, only this time it takes a little bit longer. Possibly because it wants me on the other side. Anyway, I also decided to
Hey, untie
get the
me,
hostage.
quick! Release me!
And of course, if you do that, he points a gun at you and absolutely fails to kill you.
Bang! You're dead.
Anyway, after reminiscing a bit, we can finally get to work or something. Just throw these 3 cases in the truck, as we were originally going to before we suddenly got caught up in a moment a couple of years ago. Just a simple throw the object in the thing puzzle here. Not sure why Jack needs all those cases, or requires a track for that matter. Not that that's gonna stop him though. But before we go, let's just head on in and get back to the kitchen and grab some stuff. Can't go without eating or drinking. That'd be a little bit silly on our part. Every Special Forces person needs to be adequately fed and hydrated. Of course, the game deletes all your inventory by the time you change levels, so not really helpful in this part of the house. Just close the doors on the way out, and we're good to go.